Hi, thanks for coming and checking out this video today. Today, I will be talking about my Arsenal Spurs combined 11 ahead of the North London derby next weekend. Hopefully, you like this video. And if that's the case, please give it a thumbs up. Please share and subscribe if you haven't already. There's lots more coming. And I think it's going to be a pretty good year for us. So, please get involved with the conversation. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you'd like to see. You can hit me in the comments here, or you can get me on my social media, sensible_gunner on Twitter and Instagram. Okay, so I've opted for a 4-2-3-1 formation, and I will be going through this positionally. So let's start with the goalkeeper. My goalkeeper I've chosen is going to be Ramsdale. Based on performances so far, I don't think he has really put a foot wrong. He's showing great agility, great command of his box, is showing great ability to pass out, is organizing the players in front of him, his passion. I mean, everything has just been top notch so far. Lloris has a mistake in him. I think if you look at the goals against Chelsea, the deflection, he's not really able to do much about it, but I'd like to see you try rather than kind of watch it. The header didn't seem to be the most powerful of headers from Thiago Silva. And it just seemed to beat him too easily. Didn't see any foot movement for him before going for the dive. So he's going for a dive from a standing start. Doesn't really fill me with confidence. So for me, Ramsdale will start in this combined 11. Looking at right back, we were looking at Tomiyasu and we were looking at Emerson Royale, as were Spurs. We went with Tomiyasu, who I think is the stronger of the two options, and that's why he starts in my combined 11. I think it's self-explanatory. He's had a brilliant start to his Arsenal career. 100% headers, his passing range, his ability to play on both feet, his tackling, blocks, interceptions, just been absolutely incredible. His work rate, his desire, his hunger, everything. I love everything about this guy. Emerson Royale, on the flip side, has not covered himself in any glory so far. So Tomiyasu goes in as my right back. Okay, looking at centre backs, the first centre back I'm going to go with is Ben White. I choose Ben White over Sanchez or Romero. White, for me, has been given a little bit of bad press, partly because of the fee that was paid for him. It's not something he can control. It was something that Arsenal needed. And, in terms of looking at that transfer, I prefer to look at the value of the transfer rather than the actual kind of market transfer or market value. His value to Arsenal was much higher, which is why they paid the money for him. And to be fair, he's had a mixed start. I think pretty shaky in the first game against Brentford, but factoring in everything that went ahead of it, it's you can kind of, or I will kind of excuse him a little bit. I think against Burnley, he did a very good job. He was playing against some of the most physical players in the league. Did a very good job against them. Yeah, at times he got brushed aside a little bit. That's going to happen when you play against a stronger player. But in the air, he did a good job. Ever present, has done a good job of winning aerial duels so far in his games against Norwich and Burnley, and so he's doing what is asked of him. In terms of blocks, in terms of his defensive statistics, he's done a good job. Clean sheets in the last two games as well. He's fast forming a partnership with Gabriel and looking like he's going to be an England centre back moving forward. In terms of his attacking play, does a very, very good job with his passing ability. Always looking to pass forward. He's got a great long ball, especially on the diagonal. And so, I compare him to Romero, and there is nothing I've seen from Romero that fills me with much confidence, to be honest. He was bought for a lot of money as well. Let's not get away from that. We want to criticize, or people want to criticize, the fee paid for Ben White, but Romero wasn't that much cheaper. and really has not done much so far. I think he was a starter in the game against the Portuguese team that Spurs played, and again didn't do very much. So Ben White starts as my centre back. My second centre back is going to be Gabriel. I choose Gabriel over Dyer every day. Gabriel, excellent in the air, physically strong, very good player in terms of his what he contributes in terms of the attacking side of the game. Good pass with the ball, no nonsense stopper of a defender who can play. Dyer just has a mistake in him. Not very physical. He does a good job in the air, but can be bullied a lot easier than Gabriel can. And Dyer's a good passer of the ball. I think he does a good job. He's got a decent long pass as well, but he just lacks what I would think would be leadership quality. I also think he lacks in his kind of composure and his ability to really dig deep when needed. So, as I said, he's always got a mistake in him. So Gabriel makes my second centre back. Okay, looking at left back, Reguilon is a good player. He gets forward defensively. He's competent. Gets forward. He's got a very good cross on him. But Tierney has to take this for me. Tierney has shown himself to be reliable, a leader, very good defensively. In terms of his defensive positioning, in terms of his ability to win tackles, in terms of his ability to track concentration, and then also his ability to get forward, put balls into the box. He's a threat always in the game. And so for me, without question, it's going to be future captain Kieran Tierney at left back. Okay, looking at central midfield players, the first central midfielder I'm going to choose is going to be Partey. I think Partey goes in ahead of pretty much any of the Spurs midfielders. Self-explanatory, not going to spend much time on this one. Partey is head and shoulders above any Spurs midfielder at the moment. My second central midfielder, I'm going to go with Xhaka. And I'm only going to go with Xhaka because Sambi Lokonga hasn't really established himself yet. I'm fully expecting Sambi Lokonga to become a starting centre-back in the next few months. And again, I think head and shoulders above anything that Spurs has to offer. Xhaka, I'm going to put in ahead of Højbjerg. I think Højbjerg's a very kind of destructive player. He does a lot of the kind of dirty work for Spurs, and I think he does it fairly well. But I also think Xhaka does a good job of plugging gaps. Maybe not as good as a tackler, and maybe not as good as interceptions. But I think he does a good job of winning balls in the air. He does a good job of covering spaces. And, when I look at his contribution in terms of allowing the left back to get forward, and then I look at how he is with the ball, his passing range, his decision making, I think he shades it slightly. Okay, looking at attacking midfielder. For me, attacking midfielder playing in that 10 spot, Odegaard. Odegaard, fantastic leadership, has an ability to control the tempo of the game. And this is what you want from a creative player, somebody who understands tempo, who can slow tempo down when needed, but who can speed it up, who can use sensible decision-making to enable us to control space, which I think he does extremely well, who has an eye for a pass, which I think he has, who's a great technician, who has an ability to maintain possession of the ball. I would compare Odegaard to Lucas Moura, who kind of plays in the 10 spot for Spurs. Lucas Moura, I think, is a better dribbler and has more end product, I think it's safe to say, than Odegaard does. Although maybe Odegaard has more goals this season. Not sure about that. But anyway, I think overall, in terms of the defensive press, defensive contribution, and the ability to kind of control the game, to play those kind of key passes, but more importantly, to play the passes before the key passes, to be involved in positional rotation. All of these things, I think Odegaard does fantastically well. So Odegaard beats Lucas Moura as the 10 in my starting combined 11. Okay, forward line now. Looking at the right forward, I'm going to go with Saka. I think Saka beats kind of anybody that Spurs kind of have to offer in that position. I think generally you're looking at Dele Alli, who's been playing as one of those attacking wide sort of players. I know Lucas Moura can play there at times. Saka has an ability to receive the ball in tight spaces, roll defenders. He's got a low center of gravity, physically very strong, picks the ball up and is very direct, likes to run at people and, draw fouls, draw penalties. So on the defensive side, he's somebody that has this season kind of switched off a little bit. And, maybe that's been some inconsistencies in the tactical plan, possibly. So maybe it's harsh to blame him for that. But I still think, having played as a wing back, I think defensively he's more competent as well. If you're looking at comparing him to Moura or Dele Alli, maybe they offer more of a goal threat than Saka does, but Saka definitely has contributed in the past. So we know he can find the goal. I think just his overall game and the threat he offers in terms of picking up the free kicks, picking up the penalty kicks and that kind of thing, he shades it for me. So I'm going to go with Saka over anybody that Spurs has to offer. Looking at the left forward position, I am going to go with Son. It kills me to say it. Son's a player that I've admired for some time, even before he went to Spurs. And when we were linked with him, I was pretty happy about it. And in the end, it didn't work out. And he's been at Spurs. I think he's a threat. He's very direct. He's a great dribbler. He's a great passer of the ball. Just constant energy, which helps in terms of dictating tempo and work rate. I think he has this kind of thing about him where he can be contagious in terms of him kind of getting other people around him up for it. His biggest strength is his goal threat and his assist threat. And so comparing him to the likes of Smith Rowe and Pepe, he I think is definitely stronger than those two. And so I'm going to go with Son. I've often seen this thing on Twitter of who is your sort of favorite player outside of the top six. And that would begrudgingly have to be either St. Maximin at Newcastle or it will be Son at Spurs. Yes, I said it. Spurs are outside of the top six, in my opinion. Okay, centre forward. This is the tough one. Usually Kane would take it for me. I think his goal scoring record speaks for itself, really. But Kane is not the Kane that we're used to. And so looking at it now, I'm going to have to go with Aubameyang. I'm not even sure if Kane's received the ball in the opposition box in the last 2 games. He seems to be playing in every position except for the 9 position. He's getting shots off, but not really kind of working the keeper or scoring like he normally would. He kind of looks a shell of himself. So for me, my centre forward is going to be Aubameyang. Aubameyang, again, isn't playing at kind of the potential that we know he can in terms of his goal scoring, although he has scored 4 goals so far this season. I know 3 of them came against West Brom, but listen, you get your chances, you've got to put them on target, you've got to beat the keeper with them, and he's done that. His movement, I think, isn't spoken about enough. He is very clever in how he moves when he pulls to the left, how he isolates the defender. And I think he could well have had some goals against Burnley if the final pass was a little bit better. You can't blame him for that. He's in position. There was one in the game against Burnley. There was a cross where it went near post to Pepe instead of seeing if Tierney could whip it towards the back post where Aubameyang was by himself. And then Pepe should have put a little bit more on a pass through for him to be able to run in one-on-one with the keeper. The weight of the pass was terrible, and it didn't get to him. So I don't think Aubameyang can be blamed for those things. I think he's making the runs. I think he's showing that he's a threat. Against Norwich, he was constantly looking to run in behind, so he's doing his job. And Kane isn't. So for me, I go with Aubameyang to start centre forward. Thanks for watching my video on the combined 11 between Arsenal and Spurs. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, please share. And if you haven't already, subscribe. You can get in touch with me, comments if you don't agree with anything that I've said here. If you do agree with what I've said here, please get involved with me and leave comments here or on my social media, sensible_gunner on Instagram and Twitter. That being said, ahead of the North London derby, come on, you Gunners. Let's do that Spurs mob something dirty next week. We hate Tottenham and we hate Tottenham.